For over 1,000 years, the Jedi stood as the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy. They were bound by a strict code dedicated to selflessness, balance, and an unwavering connection to the Force, but not every Jedi stayed on the same path. So what makes a Jedi abandon their principles? More specifically, why did Count Dooku fall to the dark side while his apprentice Qui-Gon Jinn remained true to the light? These two Jedi, once master and apprentice, shared the same ideals yet ended up on opposite sides of the Force. Dooku became Darth Tyrannus, a Sith Lord who helped ignite the Clone Wars. Meanwhile, Qui-Gon, despite defying the Jedi Council, remained a servant of the light. How did their fates become so drastically different? To understand, we must go back to where it all began. Dooku's fall wasn't a single event. It started with questions, and those questions slowly grew into something far more dangerous. Dooku Jedi Lost reveals the seeds of doubt that were planted early in his life. Even as a Jedi Master, Dooku was never content to simply serve. He saw the flaws in the Republic, the complacency of the Jedi Council. It gnawed at him, his faith in the Jedi eroding. He believed the Jedi had become nothing more than pawns, shackled by an outdated code, too weak to address the corruption spreading through the galaxy. And so his doubts began to fester. But Dooku wasn't alone in questioning the Jedi. Qui-Gon Jinn, his former apprentice, also found himself at odds with the Council. Unlike Dooku, Qui-Gon didn't seek power. His defiance came from a deep trust in the living Force. He followed the will of the Force even when it clashed with Jedi traditions. This philosophy kept him grounded in the light even as he challenged the authority of the Council. And this is where their paths diverge. Dooku saw the flaws within the Jedi Order just as Qui-Gon did, but while Qui-Gon trusted the Force to guide the galaxy, Dooku believed the only solution was power, the kind that could reshape the galaxy. It was during Dooku's time as a Jedi Master that darkness began to creep into his heart. He started to pull away from the Order, convinced that the Jedi had become ineffective, blind to the Republic's decay. And in a sense, he wasn't wrong. But it wasn't Dooku's observations that sealed his fate, it was how he responded to them. Enter Darth Sidious, the Master Manipulator. Sidious saw something in Dooku beyond simple disillusionment. He saw ambition. Dooku craved control, the power to impose order on a galaxy he believed was spiraling into chaos. Sidious nurtured this ambition, planting the seeds of a new vision, one where Dooku could impose that order. As Darth Tyrannus, Dooku would lead the Separatists, orchestrate a galactic war, and bend the galaxy to his will. He came to embrace a new truth, that power, not philosophy, was the answer. But Qui-Gon's relationship with power was entirely different. For Qui-Gon, defying the Council wasn't about asserting dominance, it was about trust, trusting the Force to guide him. When Qui-Gon discovered Anakin Skywalker, the Council saw only danger, but Qui-Gon saw the will of the Force. He defied the Council not out of rebellion, but because he believed the Force had chosen Anakin, and so he followed it, even if it meant standing alone. This deepened the divide between Master and Apprentice. By the time the Clone Wars began, Dooku had fully embraced the dark side. He was no longer a Jedi, no longer the man who believed in balance. He was Darth Tyrannus, a Sith Lord with a vision of remaking the galaxy through war. In the early stages, Dooku still saw himself as a man of reason, a leader who could fix what the Republic and the Jedi had broken. But by the time we reach Revenge of the Sith, he had become something else entirely. The man who once fought for balance had become an agent of destruction. Dooku never saw it that way. He believed he was in control, guiding the galaxy toward a better future. But the truth? Sidious had used him all along. Dooku, with all his power and ambition, was nothing more than a pawn. Qui-Gon's story ended long before the Clone Wars, but his legacy endured. Having learned to retain his identity in the Force, Qui-Gon continued to remain true to his beliefs, even in death. Yoda and Obi-Wan would later follow his path, learning the secret of immortality. Qui-Gon had placed his trust in the Force, and in the end, that trust was rewarded. But for Dooku, his trust had been placed in power, and that power betrayed him. At the moment of his death, at the hands of the master he had served, Dooku realized what he had become, a pawn. He sought to control the galaxy, but in the end, he couldn't even control his own fate. So what do you think? Was Dooku's fall inevitable, or could his path have led elsewhere? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into Star Wars lore. Until next time, may the dark side be with you.